I think
Good
we're here.
morning. Welcome to Surreal Estate. We're back together again. I'm Liz McGee-Min.
And I am Val Vandervoort of Veritas Homes, and I'm actually in the office this morning. It feels fabulous. Got my cup of Pete's coffee from
Oh my
across
gosh, that
the
looks so
street.
normal.
It does. It feels very normal. It's a good feeling for sure.
Yes.
So we're super excited. Today we're going to talk about kind of what we have discussed many times over the years as far as how do the presidential elections affect our market and kind of the feeling of buyers at this time of the year during presidential elections.
And we've always sort of said that people kind of freeze up, right before presidential elections. And so Val went through and looked at the numbers to see if we could kind of back up that, so much of what we say, we want to back up with numbers. But it is kind of, this real estate has a lot to do with gut feelings and, just how your interactions with people. And so nice to be able to look at numbers and kind of go at it a different direction, right?
Yeah, well stated.
We want to just start off with just the inventory numbers that we've seen over the past 4 election presidential cycles. So in 2008, so this is early October inventory numbers. So in 2008, we're in the low 60s. Obviously, that was a very different time with everything was going on. 2012, we had 27 single family homes in San Carlos. 2016, it was 13, so super low. And then 2020, we currently have 32. So 2012 and 2020, similar numbers.
Yeah. And I was thinking about it that I guess this is my 5th presidential election as a real estate agent. But back in 2004, I didn't track these numbers. It wasn't until 2006 that whole process started. So I don't unfortunately have 2004 to pull from. All right. So let me share my screen and I'm going to take us to some charts. Oh, and you get to start with Facebook. Okay, here we go. So this is a look at our month's supply of inventory, which I actually talked about kind of how that all works last week. So you can, if you want, you can go back last week and learn about how we calculate month's supply of inventory. So this is running June to December of 2012. So you can see, and that was the year that we had 27, is that right, Liz?
Yeah,
that was it. So you can see that we were approaching 2 months of inventory in September, and it actually was less in October, which again kind of goes against a little bit of that anecdotal feeling we have of what buyers are doing in October of election years. The other thing that is always a piece in here is that we tend to get a post Labor Day bump in inventory. So then let's look at 2016. So again, very similar, but it is less. So in 2016, when we were down at 13 single family houses around this time of the year, our month supply of inventory was at its peak in September. Again, probably the post Labor Day thing, but it was less. It was not even a month and a half supply of inventory. And then unfortunately, we don't have what October, November, December looks like. We think we'll come back and revisit this again so we can compare that out, how the rest of this plays out in our pandemic year. But you can see like September is very different from how it's been in the last. We barely have, a little over a month's, half month supply of inventory. So definitely this September behaving very differently from our previous election year Septembers. All right, Liz.
Okay, so then we just have days to sell on average. This is 2012. And so we have in August, things are going very quickly. And then September, we just sort of grow up through October and the days on market lengthening and then dropping November and then December. Again, things are a little slower and it takes longer to sell in 2012. And then fairly similar kind of trend in 2016. And then here when we get to 2020, just a gradual rise, right? We have more inventory, it's taking a little bit longer. In June, God, it was 6 days on market.
Well, and part of that is still that we were dealing with the issue of that the MLS had cut, not counting the days on market.
That's right.
But it is interesting, I think, to see that, this September, our days on market is, less than what it was back in 2016. I really look forward to seeing what our average days on market is for October for this year. I think it's going to be probably 17 or less. What do you think, Liz?
Yeah, I would imagine so. Things are really moving.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be.
Then this is always a really interesting peek at things. So this is the number of homes that are active versus the ones that are sold. So you can see again, September of 2012. So again, you have way more active than sales. And again in October, and then finally in November, it outpaces, the sales outpace our number of active listings. Then in 2016, again, September, you have more listings than sold. But then in October, you know, what you would think right before the election, we actually have more sales than we do have new listings on the market. And again, that was a year when inventory was incredibly low. We were at 13 single family houses in early October. And then now, this is the thing that I think we really are marveling at, is how many more sales there were than single family homes on the market. So Liz, kind of what are our conclusions?
Well, you know, I think the big thing is to say that this year, the elections, even as crazy as they are just overshadowed by this pandemic, and, you know, people's really need to prioritize their home environment. I think that's a big piece of things. And I think while I still think there is an election effect, you know, in presidentials, it's less so. And really, we just have a big shift from our spring market, just got shifted out.
Yeah.
And our usual things like the post-Labor Day bump, you know, we've been talking about, people are not timing things according to, like, when do I go on the market? You know, it's less strategic now. It's like, get it on the market when you're ready because the market's hot, you know?
Yeah.
So I think less of that timing.
Yeah. The other thing that I was very curious to kind of look at all of these things, again, with kind of coming in with the idea that the market slows down in October, is that there is a big function as far as what are our inventory numbers. And I was surprised to see that I do think that has a big bearing on what happens. And you made a great observation too, about that right now, in addition to the pandemic, the interest rates are unbelievable. So it's really encouraging buyers to, although it's a hot market, to jump in because they can secure such low rates. We might be on our third refi in like the last, I don't know, less than a year.
Isn't that nuts? I know, they're still just so hot.
Yeah. Well, this has been fun.
Yeah. I look forward to doing this again at the end of the year to kind of summarize it all, maybe in 1st of January.
Have our hindsight 2020 going on. So everyone have a great weekend. I think for some people it's a longer weekend, so enjoy that an additional day. And thank you for tuning in. We're here when you need us at Veritas Homes.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Have a great weekend.